Imagine being at the top of your game, fame, money, and glamour, only to watch it all crumble in a courtroom. For the Real Housewives, this wasn't just another episode. As the judge read their fate, emotions spilled over. Some broke down in tears, others clung to pride, and a few whispered prayers, hoping for mercy. These women, once untouchable, now faced the reality of their choices. Behind the designer clothes and TV drama are mothers, daughters, and friends, grappling with regret and fear. Let's dive into their raw, unscripted moments as their world changed forever. Jen Shah's fall from grace was nothing short of dramatic. Just like her larger-than-life persona on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, known for her fiery temper, extravagant lifestyle, and a knack for stirring the pot, Jen commanded attention wherever she went. But in the courtroom, stripped of her designer outfits and television bravado, she faced a much different reality: accountability. It all began with allegations that Jen was involved in a telemarketing scheme that defrauded elderly and vulnerable individuals. For years, she maintained her innocence, even as the FBI swooped in to arrest her in a scene that could have been plucked straight out of reality TV. She called the charges baseless, portraying herself as a victim of systemic targeting. Her loyal fans, along with her castmates, were divided. Was she guilty? Or was she caught in something bigger than herself? As the trial progressed, however, the evidence became impossible to ignore. Victims shared heart-wrenching stories of losing their life savings, and prosecutors painted a damning picture of Jen as one of the scheme's masterminds. It wasn't just the money. It was the betrayal of trust that cut the deepest. People believed they were investing in a better future, only to be manipulated into financial ruin. The confident Queen Bee fans adored on screen started to unravel. In the courtroom, Jen was no longer shouting over castmates or tossing insults. She stood before the judge, visibly shaken and emotional, as she admitted to her crimes. "I'm deeply sorry for the pain I've caused," she said, her voice breaking. "I thought I was doing what was best for my family, but I see now how wrong I was." For many, this was the moment they had been waiting for, an acknowledgement of the harm she caused. Yet, others questioned her sincerity. Was this genuine remorse or a calculated performance? Either way, the judge wasn't moved enough to grant her the leniency she hoped for. Jen was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison, a decision that sent shockwaves through the reality TV world. As the gavel fell, the courtroom was silent except for the quiet sobs of Jen and her family. Her husband, Sharif, a man often portrayed as her rock, looked crushed. Their 2 sons sat nearby, visibly struggling to process the weight of the moment. For them, Jen wasn't just a controversial TV star. She was a mom. The heartbreak in their eyes was unmistakable, and it added a deeply human layer to a story often framed by flashy headlines. Jen's reaction was subdued, almost uncharacteristically so. Gone was the woman who thrived on conflict, who once hosted opulent parties to showcase her wealth and dominance. In her place was someone grappling with the consequences of her actions, not just legally, but personally. It was a stark reminder that beneath the glitz and drama, these reality stars are real people with real lives. The sentencing also sparked a broader conversation about the price of fame. Jen had built her brand on extravagance, from her multi-million-dollar wardrobe to her sprawling home. But behind the scenes, prosecutors alleged that lifestyle was funded by deception and exploitation. For many fans, her downfall felt like a cautionary tale about the dangers of chasing fame and fortune at any cost. In the days following her sentencing, Jen released a statement expressing her regret and promising to make amends. "I will spend the rest of my life working to repair the damage I've done," she wrote. But words can only go so far, especially for those whose lives were forever changed by her actions. As she began her prison sentence, Jen Shah's story became a reminder that even reality TV stars aren't immune to real-world consequences. Her journey from luxury to incarceration is a stark contrast to the persona she built on screen, and it leaves fans wondering what the next chapter of her life will look like. Will she find redemption, or will this be the final act in her tumultuous rise and fall? Only time will tell. While Jen Shah's fall from grace shook the reality TV world, it wasn't the only scandal that left fans questioning everything they thought they knew about their favorite housewives. Teresa Giudice, too, had her own brush with a law that would change her life forever. Teresa Giudice was the heartbeat of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. With her big personality, fiery temper, and a deep loyalty to her family, she had captivated audiences for years. But in 2014, Teresa's life took a dramatic turn from glamour to legal turmoil when she and her husband, Joe Giudice, were convicted of bankruptcy fraud and other financial crimes. Fans who adored her larger-than-life persona were now witnessing the collapse of her reality, and it was far from the world of luxury she built her brand on. The day of her sentencing was tense and emotional. Teresa walked into the courtroom dressed in black, her signature long hair cascading down her back. Her usual confidence seemed shaken as the weight of her actions and their consequences loomed large. The charges were serious, and despite her repeated claims of being unaware of the specifics of her husband's financial dealings, the judge made it clear that ignorance was no excuse. Teresa was sentenced to 15 months in federal prison, a decision that stunned not only her, but the legions of fans who had watched her fight to keep her family together on screen. But it wasn't just Teresa's reaction that made headlines. It was the moment she turned to her 4 young daughters after the sentencing: Gia, Gabriella, Melania, and Adriana, who had grown up on the show alongside their mother, were in the courtroom that day. Their innocent faces a heartbreaking reminder of what was at stake. For years, Teresa had flaunted her wealth, from lavish homes to extravagant parties, but now those very symbols of success felt like the foundation of her downfall. Teresa's time in prison, which began in early 2015, became a defining chapter of her life. While incarcerated, she reportedly kept focus on staying strong for her daughters. She found solace in daily exercise, writing letters to her family, and even rediscovering her faith. In her memoir, Turning the Tables, Teresa described how prison stripped away her public image and forced her to confront her mistakes. "I had to grow up there," she wrote. "I realized what really matters: family, love, and doing the right thing." For fans, Teresa's return from prison later that year was nothing short of triumphant. Cameras rolled as she reunited with her daughters in an emotional scene that brought many viewers to tears. But life wasn't the same. Joe began serving his own sentence shortly after, leaving Teresa to navigate single motherhood while dealing with the lingering effects of the scandal. The legal battles, media scrutiny, and personal losses had transformed her, and it showed. Teresa often reflected on how the experience reshaped her priorities. "I used to care so much about what other people thought, but not anymore," she said in an interview. "I've learned to cherish what I have and to be grateful for every moment." The scandal that once threatened to destroy her family, in a way, made them stronger. Teresa focused on rebuilding her life, channeling her energy into her daughters, her business, and her own self-improvement. Though Teresa found a way to rebuild after her time in prison, not everyone fared as well. Erika Jayne's story, for example, would take an even darker turn as she was caught in a whirlwind of legal and personal chaos tied to her now ex-husband's financial scandal. Erika Jayne, the glamorous and unapologetically bold star of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, has always known how to command attention. From her outrageous outfits to her over-the-top confidence, Erika built a brand around being fierce and unbothered. But in recent years, her life took a dramatic turn from luxury to scandal, and she found herself in the center of a legal and public firestorm. The chaos began when Erika's ex-husband, Tom Girardi, a powerful and respected attorney, was accused of embezzling millions of dollars from his clients, many of whom were victims of tragic accidents. The allegations were devastating. Money meant to help families recover from unimaginable losses was instead funneled into funding an opulent lifestyle that Erika proudly showcased on the show. Private jets, diamond jewelry, designer wardrobes. What once seemed aspirational now became evidence of excess. Although Erika wasn't criminally charged, her name was dragged into lawsuits as victims sought restitution. The court of public opinion was just as harsh. Fans and critics alike questioned how much Erika knew about Tom's financial dealings. Some believed she was a victim of his deception, just like everyone else. Others weren't so convinced, wondering how someone could live so lavishly without questioning where the money was coming from. Behind the scenes, however, sources close to Erika painted a different picture. They described her as overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and grappling with the mounting legal bills that had all but decimated her fans. "She's fighting to survive," one insider said. "People forget that she's not Tom. She didn't run his law firm. She's trying to piece her life back together while everyone blames her for his actions. This duality, Erica's public defiance versus her private struggles, became a focal point for fans. On one hand, they saw her as a woman fiercely standing up for herself, refusing to be a scapegoat for her ex-husband's alleged crimes. On the other hand, her inability or refusal to show more empathy for the victims left many viewers cold. The drama played out both in the courtroom and on the show. Erica's castmates, some of whom had been close friends, began questioning her story. Tensions boiled in several heated confrontations, with Erica snapping back at accusations with the same fire fans had come to expect from her. "Do you think I would be here if I knew what he was doing?" she shouted during one particularly emotional moment. "I'm losing everything because of this." Despite her defiance, Erica couldn't escape the fallout. Her once lavish lifestyle was reduced to something much simpler. She sold off belongings, downsized her home, and admitted she was struggling to make ends meet. For someone who had built her identity around wealth and glamour, the loss was profound. Yet, Erica's resilience became a point of intrigue. Love her or hate her, she refused to back down. She continued filming the show, facing the cameras and the criticism head-on. She released statements maintaining her innocence, and while she acknowledged the pain of the victims, she firmly denied any involvement in Tom's wrongdoings. To this day, fans remain divided. Is Erica Jane a victim of her husband's betrayal, blindsided by his actions like so many others? Or was she complicit, turning a blind eye to the truth for the sake of her own comfort? The answer may never be fully known. But one thing is certain, Erica's defiant stand has cemented her as one of the most polarizing figures in Real Housewives history. These women showed us that behind the fame, fortune, and reality TV drama are real people with real consequences. From Jen Shah's tearful apology to Teresa Giudice's fight to rebuild her life and Erica Jane's defiant resilience, their stories are cautionary tales about the cost of chasing glamour at any price. But they also remind us of the strength it takes to face the world when everything falls apart. What do you think about their journeys? Are these tales of redemption, denial, or just the reality of fame gone wrong? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the dramatic lives of reality TV stars. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story.